Hey, welcome back to Fly Tying Fridays. I'm Cole, and this is Test Your Metal. Today's fly is a jig that I like to use. It's a great producing fly. It's got some hot spots. It's a little bit of a hybrid between a Dread Tag Jig and the Tasmanian Devil. Whenever I'm struggling to figure out what they're biting on, this is something I'll put on, and I usually have great luck with it. Hard part is that my fly box is always empty. I don't tie enough of them, so I need to fill my box up with a bunch of them. I think you'll like this fly. I got the inspiration from Fly Fish Food. They tie both the Dread Tag Jig and the Tasmanian Devil. Kind of also looks like a blowtorch, but I think you'll really enjoy this fly. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys. So I have a size 14 jig hook with about a 2.8 millimeter pink bead. You could tie this in a size 12 to 16. I've got a size 14 here. You're gonna build a little bit of a thread dam behind that bead. You could see me use my thumb to keep it in place, and once you have enough thread, it should stay where you put it. Now I'm gonna tie in some brassy copper wire. I kind of butt it up in the eye of that bead. I'm gonna keep that thread on my side and do even flat wraps all the way back to where the barb of the hook would be if this hook had a barb. Next, I'm going to grab this wee wool in fluorescent fire orange. So this is the same color that I'm using for the thread. The thread is 70 denier UTC in fluorescent fire orange. I'm going to tie this in by folding it over twice on itself. So there's 4 strands right there that I'm tying in. And then I'll lift up the front section and work forward. And once I get to the front of the fly, I'll fold that back over and bind it down. And this will allow me to create some volume on the fly without having to do a bunch of thread wraps. So it's a time saver, and it creates a nice even body. So now I'll work back with smooth touching wraps. Once I get to where the hook point would be, I'm going to stop and grab my next material, which is Simperfly Dirty Bug Yarn. This is the mottled olive color. It's a really cool material because instead of having to do dubbing loops or dub a bunch of material on your thread, you can tie in this yarn, and when you wrap it, it gives a cool mottled effect because of the color, but also it ties on really easy, makes your flies go a lot faster. Some cool color, and it even adds some segmentation because that yarn cords up. You can twist it up tighter and make it more segmented, but it's a really cool material, and it even has a buggy look because it's kind of sparse. So right now I'm just using my thread to fill in that gap between where the yarn or the bug yarn finishes, smoothing that out. Then I put a little half hitch in because I'm going to use my rotary vise to work forward. So we'll grab our bug yarn, start spinning it on, and you can watch how easily and nice and smooth this goes on, and the cool colors it has. There's some greens, some browns, some golds, some tans. Nice and smooth. We'll tie this off, and we won't make our hot spot quite yet. Next, we're going to grab our brassy wire and just work forward going over that yarn. We're going to do 3 or 4 turns, nice even wraps, trying to keep even spacing. This will make your fly more durable. And then what I do is I add an extra wrap there, especially since this fly is important and we need it to sink. We're not too worried about weight. Adding that extra wrap ensures your wire doesn't come undone when you do the step. I'm going to helicopter off my wire. Get my thread where I want it, And the last material I'm going to put on is just some peacock colored ice dub. You don't need much of this, but since it's synthetic, you really have to start with a small amount to get it to stick to the thread. You can see I have a very small amount. You could still see my thread through there, so I'm going to add a little bit more. But I grabbed too much here, so you'll see me pick it out. And that's important. You never want to dub too much at once. See, I got too much there. Pulled out a little bit, dub it on. And you could see I'm only twisting one direction with my thumb. If you go back and forth, you're just going to undo that progress. So you only twist in one direction. Got that on. Now I'm just going to build a little bit of a hot spot, making sure there's no gaps in my thread. Grab my whip finish tool, do a 4-turn whip finish. And this fly is done. All we have to do now is trim that tail. I trimmed this one a little bit long, but that's okay. You can play with it. You can go shorter, you can go longer. It really doesn't matter. This fly is more interesting to fish because it has hot spots in it. It's not necessarily mimicking too many natural things, but it looks a little bit like a lot of different things. So once that yarn picks out, it looks really nice.